Hi, this is Kendra.
This is Olivia.
And Josh.
And this is a mini version of our Music Oddcast. Today we'll be talking about band stories that have been submitted, which is very fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the good thing about this, we'd like people to continue sending stuff our way. I came across this story on Reddit, and that's kind of how found out about this and got a response from these guys. And luckily, we have a really fun story for the next one that we're saving, because this is enough to just talk about for this full band stories episode and kind of introduce this to you guys. You hear way too often about bands on tour, or even just local bands playing shows that have their gear stolen. It's a terrible thing that happens
if you've played
all
long
the time.
enough, you've had something stolen or all your gear stolen.
It's happened to me before.
I've never had all of our stuff stolen. All the amps are gone, all the guitars. I've had small things taken here and there.
For me, it was it was the night before we were supposed to leave on this 10-day tour.
Right.
And we played a gig at our local bar, and somebody broke into our bass player's car, and it had my bass amp and Marshall half stack and something else, and they took it. They got away
gone. Yeah.
By the when Dwan went out to load or unload and grab some stuff, the car was driving off with our shit. And these people were really stoned on this porch, and they're like, we thought that was his shit. They're like, we were even how-ping him. What the fuck?
No.
But then they're like,
can you help me with this amp? It's real heavy.
But they were really high, so we do not want to talk to the cops. We can give a description to you guys, but but we're really fucking stoned, man. We don't want to talk to cops right now. And I get it, but at the same time, that seems so sketchy, you know?
Yeah.
But it was, so we made them talk to the cops anyway, because we're fuck you. You helped load out our shit. Fuck you. Yeah, that was weird.
So after that happened, did you guys make up the money somehow? Did anybody donate?
So that happened, and everybody was cool to let us use their gear and stuff to play the gig. And it was a hardcore band at the time, so I was really fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And we were kind of freaking out, fuck, we're supposed to go on tour tomorrow. So it really actually ended up working out. Everybody that we played with that night was so nice, and so they, even all the touring bands, we're good. So everybody just gave us all of the door money.
Yeah.
Here, I hope it helps. This really sucks. So that was really kind of all the locals and stuff to throw down on that. That was really cool.
That is.
And then when our friend in Indy, Will, he was gonna drive us because he had this big worker utility van that he had just got, and he was called us the week before. He's like, "Do you guys need a ride on tour? Because I kind of want to go on tour with you guys." And we're like,
"Do we?"
Yes. So he was we were already gonna play at his house the next night because he had house shows, and then he was gonna drive us to Baltimore and back and stuff like that.
What are the chances of that? Some guy just being yeah.
Right.
You guys need a ride to Baltimore?
He's like, well, I just got this van. I saw you guys are going to tour, and it looks like a lot of fun. Can I come? I have this van. And we're like,
That's
oh my
awesome.
God,
yes.
Tour's still on.
Right.
Because it was really
Tour's
half-assed. It was the first time I tried to plan a tour, and it was really half-assed. And but it just all magically worked out. So even with our gear getting stolen, it magically worked out because then when we played down in Indy, all these awesome people were like, you can borrow my half stack, you can borrow my shit. So they let us use their instruments to go on tour. We're that, which is crazy.
Oh dang.
I mean, it was so
really cool.
nice, and we were we will take care of it. But so the Fort Wayne scene and the Indianapolis scene really came through and saved our ass on that stuff, which was so kind.
Yeah.
So very, very lucky, very fortunate. If anybody ever asks to borrow an amp or something because they couldn't bring it because they didn't have the room in their vehicle and stuff like that, gear sharing is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens
and you never know
every
whose
show.
shit gets stolen. It's always going to be helpful. Most bands were cool to let us borrow a guitar or whatever, but there were some bands on that tour that were fucking dicks.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm not going to name drop any of them, but fuck them, you know? I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you're a dick.
Basically.
Some other things that you can do if this if this happens to a band that you like or you go see or even you're friends with, if they have like any sort of like GoFundMe page, like definitely like give them a few dollars if you have some or more.
Yeah, like
for
every $5 is like another $5 that like isn't coming out of somebody's pocket that they already paid, like to buy something that they already owned.
Yeah,
that got ripped off.
Buy an album,
Just
buy a
merch
T-shirt,
too,
buy
yeah.
merch.
Buying merch is awesome.
Yeah,
Buy me a drink.
Yeah, buy him a drink if you can't do anything else. Give him some money for gas or food.
Ironically, like on this tour, the guy that had the van that drove us, he was also like collected like really rare records. And so he just brought like a stack of vinyl with him just to sell at our merch table to make his own money.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But it was like rare Japanese noisecore bands and shit like that. And stuff that like was going for like $500 on eBay.
Yeah.
And so that dude made like triple
what
we did in our merch sales. Like he even
cool.
with like the
crazy.
gig payments and stuff
So
like
he
that.
knew what he was doing. Because
Well,
I
he
was wondering, why
also-
would this guy just...
No, he also brought a record player that worked in the fucking van. So we were
Dang.
listening to records
Was it on
like
the
road.
shock mounts or something?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But you could even put it on a ceiling and have it play. So it was like when it was like a smoother
Plays
ride.
underwater.
So he brought some junk records to listen to, like just in case they got scratched up. But it was very funny. Sorry.
That's funny.
But yeah, I like that the merch guy made more money than everybody else on the tour. Though.
Yeah.
It's great.
And now that South by Southwest has been canceled, and the bands Cheap Wave and Caleb Casper that we talked to, they were affected by that. They had shows set up, and it looks like they still have like a couple things that they're playing, which is great.
Well, they're
like
in
they were
Austin,
still able
so
to.
they might... Just because they canceled South by Southwest, that doesn't mean they can't.
A lot of these, a lot of bands that were planning to do this, if you can, like I said,
Yeah,
buy an album, buy some
with
merch.
COVID-19, the coronavirus and stuff
I
going
know.
around, like a lot of people are like we've had gigs canceled. Like a lot of people are having gigs canceled, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
But also like that's some people's income. So
Right.
if you have a band that you love that like, isn't very big, or like you want to support them, like now is the time to buy the merch.
Today, we're going to speak with Sean from the band Cheap Wave out of Austin, Texas, and talk with him about an experience he had recently on the road.
What was the name of the band again?
They are called Cheap Wave.
Cheap Wave. Okay.
Yeah, they're a punk wave band from Austin, Texas.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. So let's get him on the phone.
Yeah, I know Austin's definitely known for its music scene for sure. And we've played at South by Southwest a few times. It's just very conducive for bands to play down there, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and call.
Hello?
Hi, Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Olivia.
Hey, what's up, Olivia?
Not much. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
You calling from Fort Wayne?
Yeah, it's
Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is Josh, by the way.
Hi, Josh.
How you doing?
I was like, oh, another voice. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I grew up in Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't sound like you're from Texas or wherever. Where are you from? Right? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I'm in Texas now, outside of Austin.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
But I grew up in the Louisville area.
Yeah, and it's absolutely freezing here right now. I bet it's a lot nicer where you're at.
Yeah, I think it's way nicer.
It's probably like 75 and sunny, and people are out on their patios drinking Coronas and whatnot. Or Lone Stars. I'm sorry, they drink Lone Stars.
It's like 55, which for us,
But that feels
is frigid. But
I think it's about 20 degrees here right
Yeah,
now.
it was 21 last time I checked. And
Yeah, fuck that.
I know.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so first, can you tell us a little bit about your band?
Yeah, for sure. Let me know if you can't. My house is weird on reception, so let me know if you can't hear me.
Okay.
At some point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I play drums in a band called Cheap Wave from Austin, Texas, and we're a punk band with kind of a new wave edge to us. We say we're kind of like Dinosaur Jr. Covering Devo.
Awesome.
If that makes any sense at all.
No, we both love Dinosaur Jr. or Jay Massis or whatever.
Right.
And I'm
Devo's
familiar with
good.
Devo.
Yeah.
The a very
I like me some
invented
Devo.
new wave in the early '80s. So
Yeah, for sure. So that's sort of what we do, and we have been. It's just three of us. I've been down in Texas for a while, and I had two friends who moved from Chicago. I had an old band that was breaking up at the time, and I started playing with them. We've been playing for a couple of years now. I think we've been going hard at it for like a year and a half or 2 years now. So
Okay.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. So you guys were just finishing off a tour or towards the end of a tour when you guys got robbed, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was awful. So terrible.
Yeah. So last summer, this was June, we went out on the road with another Austin band, Caleb to Casper, who are good friends of ours.
Okay.
And it was like 7 of us in a really shitty van that a new thing broke on it every day.
It sounds like every tour I've ever been on, or every tour every band I've known has been on. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
because you just drive around what you can get that has enough space for everyone.
yeah, pretty much. And we did get the AC fixed, or the dude we rented it from agreed to pay to get the AC fixed, because it was June and we were like sitting in standstill traffic in New Orleans.
Oh my
And
God.
we were just like,
that could be.
we can't do this.
That sounds actually dangerous.
Yeah. So anyway, we got that worked out, but yeah, it wasn't a nice van. Anyway, but we were only out for 2 weeks, but we covered like 4,200 miles in 2 weeks, so we were really hauling.
Did you say 4,200 miles?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy. Yeah.
I think it was like 14 dates. Not really a day off, just going. And we were at the very end, pretty much. We were in Tulsa, which would have been the second to last date on the tour. We were going to get back to Texas and play a Texas show, and then we'd be done with it. So we played Tulsa. I'd never been to Oklahoma before. I don't know if I'll go back after that.
Yeah,
But
understandable.
we just, it was one of the nights we didn't have a place to stay, so we just got a cheap hotel, and we went to bed. The next morning I got up and I was going to pull the van around for us to like load our stuff into. And I was just digging around in the back. A window was busted out, but I didn't even notice that at the time. I was just digging around in the back,
Yeah.
and I
It
saw
came
like,
busted out. No.
I just saw like sparkly stuff in the back of the van, and I realized it was glass. And then I looked up, and there was just no window there. And I must have been sleepy or something, because I looked around and realized, like, half of the stuff was just gone.
Well, I mean, you're hungover maybe from the night
Or
before,
just
and you come
tired
out.
from
You're tired. Yeah,
traveling.
you're tired because you drove 4,200 miles
Yeah,
in like a couple weeks, and you just don't know what's going on half the time. But
Yeah, I was just tired from everything, and I was just honestly, I think it was just kind of hard to believe, because you hear horror stories like that. It's just sort of a cliche. You hear horror stories like that, you just don't think it's going to happen to you, all that stuff. So I don't know. In an instant, my stomach just sank,
Yeah.
and I
Naturally,
sort
yeah.
of took a look, and a lot of drum stuff was gone. Guitar, I think a guitar and bass was gone. At least one amp was gone. And I went around to the hotel lobby, and my guitarist, Jordan, was the first guy I saw. And I was just like, man, you got to come outside, because we just got robbed. And I felt awful for him, because his guitar got swiped, and it was kind of rare. It's called a Hanson, which is sort of a rare small company out of Chicago. There's not a lot of them floating around at all.
Okay.
And
that
ever since I met him, like, he basically was that guitar, and he was having just like the worst day of his life, or
that's
one of
Yeah,
terrible.
that's
Yeah,
understandable.
that's terrible.
So yeah, and then we had to clean up the glass. We called the police, which they were like nice, but couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, I mean, what are they really going to do?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but that was that morning. We totaled it up, and we lost essentially like $4,000 of gear between. It was like a guitar, a bass, an amp. 2 drummers were in the van, so like 2 snares, 2 sets of cymbals. And then I think whoever it was trying to get a Vox Tube amp out of there, but it was just too heavy. So we like knocked it around.
They got lazy.
It a little bit. Yeah. And that was that morning. It was pretty bullshit.
That's terrible, man. I really feel for you. I've been on some tours and I play in a band, and it's just a nightmare. The tour is basically over. But I know the punk rock scene in general, like you could probably go to your next show, and if it was, with a bunch of different bands, they would I guarantee they would let you use their gear.
Yeah.
But how long can you continue on doing that after,
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened in the near term is our next show was in Denton, and we got down there, and I told the other bands what happened, and like both our sets were just, provided essentially by the other band's gear and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They were there for us, and I was proud of us because nobody was happy, but we finished out the tour and did the damn thing and played some really good music to finish it up. But yeah, then after that, it was just kind of up to us to rebuild. We started a GoFundMe, which we had some real supportive like friends and family, like here in Texas and elsewhere that contributed some. Some insurance money came through. I was like super lucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You never know with that stuff.
You never know with that stuff.
Yeah, I guess you could have insurance for like rental cars or renter's insurance maybe if somebody had that and had planned a guitar. I don't know.
Some renter's insurance came through, which I didn't even realize it covered that sort of stuff.
I wouldn't have thought. I'm like, well, my guitar's gone. It's over.
Yeah. So we were nowhere near. I mean, everything was essentially. We were still in debt from it,
Yeah.
Oh, for
sure. Nothing covered. Everything was super helpful, and we were both bands were so grateful that we had that support. But it was, it didn't cover everything, and all of us, I think, went into a little bit of debt getting it back.
Yeah.
Or getting back up to speed, so to speak.
So do you feel like you guys have bounced back at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we all just, we couldn't just exist borrowing gear for that long, because we were, we play a lot down in Austin, and no matter how many good friends you have, eventually they'd be like, really, dude? Like, again? You need my stuff? So, we just had to kind of bear down and get new gear. So it was just one of those things. We just had to do it, so we did.
Yeah, I mean that's great that you guys were able to hold it together and finish out the tour. You hear about so many bands that have that happen, and then that's kind of it for them because they can't, they don't have anything to kind of rebuild that quickly, or even years later. Because I came across so many stories when I was looking into this. And it's so sad how often it happens.
Yeah.
It really is.
I pretty much stopped taking nice gear to shows a while ago. I play like a Fender Squier guitar that I got for like $89 at the store.
Yeah.
Because I was just worried someone's going to steal my guitar that I use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the drums, like drum hardware is so expensive.
Yeah.
The snare drums cost, $1,000 a piece for some of them. It's just, I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Everything drum related is stupid expensive.
It is. The whole thing is
I
ridiculous.
love drums, but everything's so expensive with drums. And it's just one of those things. We were lucky that it happened when it did happen on tour.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things, we were tired. Like, half the doors on that van didn't open, so loading in and out was a total pain in the ass. And we got through, we got through New Orleans, we got through Nashville, we got through New York, we got through Chicago, and nothing got jacked. We got to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
And thought,
I know.
we'll be fine.
The suburbs, and we're getting stuff jacked right at the hotel.
Yeah. And, just wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys have going on for you right now, or anything coming up, any albums, shows? I saw that you released a video recently.
Yeah, we did. We released our first video in January for our single Hellions.
Mm-hmm.
And Hellions is the title track off our first EP. We put out that EP last year. We promoted it out on the tour and stuff. So that video is out and live now, up on YouTube. It's pretty good, if I do say so myself. Completely unbiased, of course. But,
no bias whatsoever. Yeah. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And we've got 3 more songs that are basically being mastered now, and we're trying to decide if we're going to release them as singles or put out a few more for another EP. And at this time of the year down in Austin, like, everybody's just gearing up for South by and sort of the zoo that is South by. So everything's kind of on hold until we play all our South by gigs and then take another breath, and then we'll figure out what to release next. But yeah, that video's out, and we've got some singles that are sort of in the can. Just figuring out the best time to release them out into the world and everything.
Are you just releasing stuff purely digitally? Or are you guys doing any... I don't know what bands are really... Are they doing vinyl? Are they doing cassettes? Is it all digital? I don't know what people are doing anymore.
We did tapes on the EP last year. And we just recently sold our last tape of that run. I don't know what we're going to do next, honestly.
That's kind of the sense I get from all of music. It's, I don't know, are we going to do a vinyl? Are we going to do a tape? Are we going to do digital, a single, EP? Nobody really knows what's going on. I was just curious what you guys were
It's a good question, dude. I mean, a lot of people do tapes down here. And from our time on the road, we would get to some markets like Chicago, Brooklyn, and those places, like, people are cool with tapes, and you go somewhere and people are like, how am I going to play this?
What is this?
It's just not, for us, we were just like, I don't know, because we released it on all these digital platforms. We didn't just want to put out a CD because it's just, it's nice to have a physical thing, but it's still like a digital physical thing. So we thought it would be kind of fun to put out something totally analog.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, CDs are, obviously, they're obsolete. But even 5 years ago, it was just a carrying device. It was like a hard drive to get it onto your computer, to get it onto your phone, or whatever people do with it. And now, like, most computers don't even have a CD drive, so I don't even know. I don't know what people are doing with
cars
music.
Don't
it's
have
all Spotify, I guess.
Yeah, right. I got like 500 CDs that literally just sit in the trunk of my car.
They're all coasters for drinks that I put on. Basically.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do with those next songs. We're gonna look into maybe releasing like a 7-inch, 2-sided 7-inch.
Awesome.
Just depends on.
I mean, that's a very punk rock. That's a very punk rock thing to do, is to do a 7-inch, which is awesome.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, and other than YouTube, where all can we find you?
Yeah, we're everywhere. We're on Spotify. Our first EP is on Spotify. Anywhere you can find digital music, we're on. Apple Music, YouTube Music, Bandcamp. We've got...
What's your MySpace? No, I'm just kidding.
MySpace is... we were too late on MySpace, unfortunately. Sad. Our straight up website is just cheapwaveband.com.
Okay, that's pretty easy. I can remember that.
we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, cheap_wave. That's Instagram. We're all over the place. We try to be easy to find.
Yeah, no, that's smart.
Yeah. I will tell you a happy ending to that guitar story, and this is a total talk about like serendipity. So he found, it was almost an exact copy of that exact same guitar. The volume knobs were different, but he found it at a little vintage guitar shop in Austin.
See, there you go. It's karma. Karma came back.
I've never seen my guitarist Jordan so happy.
I bet, yeah.
To get that thing.
That is a good
Well, good for him.
That's cool.
Jeez.
Yeah, man. And somebody, I don't know if this is true, but somebody in the know said that it used to be owned by Alejandro Escobedo, which, even if it's not true, like, it's a cool story to spread around.
I believe it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, thank you so much for telling your story.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all, for wanting to hear about it. Pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
No
nice
problem,
talking to you
man.
too.
All right, we're here with Caleb Casper, musician, singer-songwriter, and charismatic frontman out of Austin, Texas. He's going to tell us his side of the story, a little bit about his music, and what he's been up to lately, and what he might be doing in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, we appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so earlier in the week, Olivia sent me an email that was, hey, we're going to interview this guy who is in a band in Austin or whatever. And she sent me, she might have forwarded the message that you sent her, and it had a list of gear that had been stolen on it. And it listed everything off, and it was, for the most part, it was really normal stuff. Like, there was, Zildjian cymbals and a Mapex drum kit and like a Strat guitar and a bunch of different band stuff. And the last thing on the list was, what was it?
The fishnet stockings.
The fishnet stockings. And I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I want to talk to this guy. So then I was like, well, let me listen to the band. So I looked, and I realized it was probably just a solo artist with a backing band after I looked at it. Because I went online and I looked at the digital stuff, and I listened to the first song off the EP you put out. I think it was called Elephant. And I was like, oh man, this has like a really strong, like Tim Curry kind of theatrical, like Rocky Horror thing going on with it. And I was like, oh, the fishnet stockings, that kind of makes a little more sense maybe. So I don't know.
I'm still pissed that somebody took my fucking fishnets though. Like,
Yeah.
I guess the better question is, why would they take those?
I know.
I mean, I understand the gear because it's valuable, but I don't know.
Could be, I almost feel like it might be a pervy thing. Do you get that impression?
because they enjoy the smell of fishnets after they've been to 15 different cities.
Who wouldn't?
Right. Yeah, because you guys had been on, like a pretty extensive tour at that point.
Yeah, we made it all the way across half the United States. We had one more date to go in Denton.
Denton, Texas. I've been to Denton. I don't know what I was doing there. I don't know why I was there. It's kind of like there's a school there, I think. There's got to be a school in Denton. Maybe that's why I was there.
There is, yeah, there's a school there. Yeah, I love my Denton fans up there. But, they're cool. We had one more date. We went to all these cities, all these places, and then Tulsa is where someone decided to be an asshole and take our stuff.
Tulsa's where the actual robbery took
It
place.
happened in Tulsa, yeah.
So shitty that somebody, took your guys' stuff like that.
So I'm just
It's so
picturing you
horrible.
guys, like, after your stuff's stolen, and then you decide to go, you're like, well, we got one more show, so we might as well show up at the place. So then you get to the place.
We spent the whole next day trying to, in music, you make it work all the time. So another reason why I love people from Denton so much is because they just made it work for us. A lot of the other bands just put stuff together. A lot of people that the bookers knew just put stuff together. So as long as you show up, everything works out.
That's cool, because I was
really
picturing
cool.
you guys showing up at the next bar or whatever, and I was just picturing the guy being like, all right, you guys can load in over here and then put your gear over here, and then you guys are like, well, we don't have any gear. And they were probably like, what? But luckily in the DIY scene, and when you travel around like that, my experience, people are super generous, and I've always been able to borrow someone's gear, guitar, drums, or whatever. So
Yeah, we did. I believe we borrowed from a band called Maple. So thank you, Maple, for making it work.
Yeah, that's great that they did that. But I mean, it also says a lot about you guys, though, being able to, after just having a bunch of stuff stolen, you're tired, you've been traveling, and that really fucking sucks when that happens. When somebody steals something from you, and getting back up there and finishing that up, I think that says a lot about, you, because otherwise, and nobody would have thought anything if you would have just said, like, oh, our stuff was stolen, we can't go to the show. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, that wasn't even, I remember my manager asked everyone, what do we do? What do you guys want to do? And that wasn't even an option because we had been through 15 cities. This was my first United States tour, and this is what I'm made to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give up.
the show must go on, right?
Yeah, of course. And that's who I am too. I'm a real performer.
Yeah.
So I believe in all those mantras and everything. But some meth head's not gonna fuck up my dreams and my career and the fact that I've committed to entertaining these people and making this venue money,
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, especially if you guys, you might have had a contract where you had to play if it was a booked tour.
Well, I will say we were going to get a guarantee, so kind of like
Yeah.
we had to make it happen,
Yeah, I feel you. That's good. I'm glad that worked out for the most part, minus the gear being stolen, obviously.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you've bounced back at this point, or are you still trying to make up for everything that was lost?
Everything has been replaced. It's even when it happened, I bought everyone ice cream.
First things first.
Yes, first things first. I bought everyone ice cream. I sat everyone down, and I said, I forget exactly what I told people, but it was along the lines of like, things happen and they become part of a story, and this is just part of a story. Like, it wouldn't be a thing if something negative didn't happen. Okay?
Right.
So just roll with it. It's just stuff, and the person who did this to us, like, it's on them.
Yeah.
So we just gotta keep going. And, we did the GoFundMe, and people really came through and helped us out. And it was even like, if you just trust that everything works out because you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. So are you from Austin originally, or where did you start out?
I am not from Austin originally. I've been in Austin for 4 years. I've been playing with this band for 3 years. I started in and around Charlotte, North Carolina, and I moved to Brooklyn for 6 months and made some art up there. And I played with a band called Zetas when I was in Charlotte, and they convinced me that Texas was where I needed to be, and they were totally right. So
That's good.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a good scene. You've been a few times for South by Southwest.
Yeah, we toured, like, starting up. We're in Indiana right now. That's where we live. And I've been in a band, and we've toured our way down to South by Southwest, and then, like, kind of toured our way back, which is always kind of fun to do. So the festival, I'm sure it's different during the festival, obviously, than when the non-festival times, but there's just a ton of bands and a ton of places to play, and it's conducive for rock and roll.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're playing. So
the whole state is, though. It's crazy. You would never think that Texas would be somewhere that someone, who does rock and roll and cross dresses and, has points to make about the state of, about being yourself and self-expression. You wouldn't think that would do well, but it does well everywhere. I connect with people everywhere, and I'm supported by people everywhere. Small towns, big towns, and there's a music scene in every city, it seems like. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's just a general movement of consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, in the whole country or world that's moving towards that direction, in my opinion. So I know you're probably better received now as opposed to 10 years ago.
It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it was a very different climate. It
was totally different. I've known what I wanted to do since I was little, very little. Like, it was put in me, and it's just grown. And so trying to do what I feel that I'm supposed to be doing and people are not receptive to it, it was a lot to put up with and experience. But things have changed, so.
That's good. It's good that you stuck it out too, because sometimes that doesn't happen, or it just doesn't. The person isn't strong enough, I guess.
I'm not going to give up. No way.
That's true. If you already knew and you weren't going to stop, nothing was going to stop you anyway. But it would have been hard for me if I would have been in Charlotte and then I went to New York and then I went here and then ended up in Austin. It would have been tough doing all those moves for sure.
Yeah, because you're pretty much starting over every time.
Right, because you got to find a new band everywhere you go.
Finding the areas where you can play and finding the right group of people to play with.
Well, until I can do a solo act too. So I was just playing the piano and singing and writing music and putting on more horror cabaret style shows for a lot of North Carolina and all of when I lived in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And that was well received with a few people in North Carolina, but a lot of people in New York. So the fact that I moved to New York and I didn't get a lot of kickback. I was almost immediately well received and supported by people like that. That was probably a turning point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I've been listening to the EP that you put out, and it's kind of split down the middle where the first half is kind of band oriented, guitar, bass, and drums, and the last two songs are synth pop. So I guess, are you going to do both? Or are you trying to go in one direction or the other? What's the future hold?
So I don't believe that we're in a world where things need to be binary at all anymore, or things don't need to be polarized, and that's in regard, if you look at me, that's in regards to gender expression and sexuality as well as music and art, and because we're people and we have the ability to express ourselves, and that lies on a spectrum. We can have complex emotions, and I feel that mixing genres and just doing whatever I want to do is the best way to go.
I agree with that.
I totally agree. I actually love the fact.
Interesting.
I love the fact that the EP was sort of split, and it wasn't just this is how we do it, and we're like a rock band or a glam rock band. It was the last song sounds like a different band from the first song, in my opinion, in a good way.
Think about music that's come out in the past year. Specifically, I've been doing this since the beginning, so I've had a hunch, but if you look at Lizzo's album, all those songs could be singles all on their own, and they don't necessarily match, but because it's Lizzo, they all fit together. Yeah. So I just feel that music might be going that direction.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. That's why I was asking you
for
what you
people
were doing.
that can do that. There's some bands out there that just they do really good with just one kind of sound, like a punk rock band that is kind of their thing. And that works too. I just think it's really fun to watch artists that can really change it up for different songs and surprise you with the album. When you listen to the whole thing, I think that's always really fun.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I value expression more than I value capitalism. So
yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
So what do you have coming up?
Oh, I have so much stuff coming up. Immediately this Sunday, I'm filming for a TV show on Austin local television called 512 Studios.
Cool.
Yeah, so that will be released. I'll get the date for when that will be released, probably on Sunday. But I'm going to spend Sunday in a TV studio. South by is coming up in a week from now. South by starts, but we're going to hit the latter half of it with a few shows. And I guess what I can tell you that's coming up, things I can speak on right now. I have some big shows with Heartbones around Texas in April.
Okay.
Cool.
That's cool. And how long has your video, Johnny Be Good, been out?
It's only been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty fresh.
And I found the link on your Instagram, and it's on YouTube as well. Where else can you be found?
So I can be found all over social media. My favorite social media is Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you have a really fun Instagram page.
Yeah.
You do. I love seeing the guitar.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. I have new material, and it's guitar heavy, so
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, you can follow me Facebook and Instagram, and I'm on Twitter. I don't really use Twitter that much though.
Yeah.
But music-wise, I'm pretty much wherever you get your music.
Yeah, I just went on to like Apple Music and saw the
Yeah.
EP and the live stuff. So yeah, I'm assuming it's on Spotify too, obviously.
And you have a fun store. I saw that there were buttons and T-shirts, and what else do you have on there? Or is there anything else that you're, planning on adding soon?
Yeah, I do. So you could find the store through Bandcamp, or I've linked the Bandcamp to my website, calebdecasper.com. But we've got some posters now that were done by an award-winning music photographer, Ishmael Quintanilla III. And he, right before he did me, he did St. Vincent, so that was really cool.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Yeah. So we've got a poster with his work. We've got the buttons and the T-shirts and the music and all sorts of cool, fun stuff.
Is there anything else that you'd like to plug? 'Cause I know you mentioned your shows and your EP. I know we've talked about it briefly. Are you planning on putting out a full length anytime soon, or sticking with that for a while?
I will be in the studio this summer, but I am not in a place where I can talk about what's going to happen yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, mysterious.
Yes. I like that.
Man of mystery.
All right. Well, it was really nice talking to you, and we appreciate you coming on to tell your side of the story and kind of what happened to you and how it affected you. We hate hearing these stories about bands getting robbed, and even sometimes there were people that were beat up when their gear was taken.
Yikes.
There's, just pages and pages on Reddit. I hate seeing this. So I think it's good to kind of get these stories out there and let people realize that this is actually happening to human beings, and this is really hard to bounce back from.
Yeah, I've had a few things stolen at shows, but I think most of the time it was something small and it was an accident where somebody else has had the same guitar pedal as me and they took theirs and they accidentally took mine or something. So
yeah,
but I've never been wiped out. Never gone out to the car and been like, all the stuff's gone, yay! Like ice cream. What do we do?
I just wanna let people know, we did everything right. We did everything you were supposed to do, short of take all of the equipment to your hotel room every night, because we had a lot of people in one hotel room. So we didn't do that, but we backed the van up against a wall and we made sure that we were good. And we had been doing this all over the United States. We get to rural Oklahoma was where we were staying. We weren't staying in Tulsa. We were staying outside. And
yeah, man, it's the suburbs. That's where they get you.
I don't about it, but there was a drug problem there that we weren't aware of, and someone put a brick through the window. I guess they'd been watching us. Put a brick through the window and took all our stuff. So it happened where we least expected it and felt the most comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was their plan. They knew.
You're right. They were probably watching you as one of those ultimate crime of opportunity situations where they were like, oh, watch everybody go into the hotel room and then take all their stuff.
Nah, I think it was just a crackhead who walked by.
Could have been.
And took a chance, but you never know.
Yeah, but it's glad to hear, or I'm really glad to hear that you guys handled it so well, and just the great response that you guys had from family and friends and fans, where you were able to earn some of that money back quickly.
Yeah,
so
it's just stuff. It's just stuff. And
it's just stuff.
We kept going because this is what I'm supposed to do. So
yeah,
it all worked out.
Well, good luck on the TV interview. Sounds like that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm meeting with the stylist tomorrow.
Nice.
So
that's super cool. Well, thank you for doing this. We really
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to let people know about what happened and let people know about my art. I appreciate it.
That's the plan, man. Will do.
Well, have a good night.
All right, man.
All right. You too. Take care.
Yep, take it easy.
Now we're going to listen to a song by each band, so listen to the end so you can hear them both, and please check out the videos for both online. This is Johnny Be Good by Caleb DeCasper.
game you're playing, but I'm tired of doing this work. Why can't you just be good, Johnny, and stop making me hurt? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, I said be good, Johnny, oh Johnny, why won't you be good? Johnny doesn't deserve my love, and he doesn't deserve my time, but he is all I'm thinking of, and I can't get him out of my mind. Every time that I am with him, I feel so out of sight. Why can't you just be good, Johnny, be good with all your might? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, I said be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, I said be good, Johnny, oh Johnny, why won't you be good? La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, I said be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, Johnny, why won't you be good? Be good, Johnny, oh Johnny, why won't you be good? La 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 la.
And this is Hellions by Cheap Wave.
Well, good morning. What use is any warning? Late in the night there were whispers, loud enough to wake your sisters. Secret spirits in your room. You become a little hellion. Your poor mother, all night trembling at the door. Bop, 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 bop. we're landing on the edge of understanding. You know that you're straight too far. But darling, will you fall? Just sit will watch right out, and then you won't be a little hellion. And the pastor will cast the demons from your room. We'll bless our dinner with absolution for the sinners and